The phone rang on a Tuesday morning, right in the middle of my usual coffee and email routine. When I saw Linda's name on the screen, I sighed. Calls from her were never good news. "Hello, Linda," I said, keeping my voice calm. "I sold the house," she announced immediately, sounding pleased with herself. "The papers are signed, and the new owners move in next week. Maybe now you'll learn to respect your elders." My name is Mia Carter, and the house Linda was bragging about was my childhood home, the one my dad left me when he passed away 2 years ago. Or at least, that's what Linda thought. "The house?" I repeated, trying not to laugh. "You mean Dad's house?" "Don't play dumb, Mia, you know exactly what I mean, the house you've been living in for free since your father died. That ends now. I found buyers who actually appreciate the place." I took a slow sip of my coffee, remembering my meeting with Dad's lawyer, Mr. Lewis, right after the funeral. Linda had no clue about that meeting, about the legal documents, or about who really owned the house. "Interesting," I said, "and you're sure everything's legal?" She scoffed. "Of course it's legal, I was his wife, the house was in his name. Just because you were his daughter doesn't mean you get to call the shots. Maybe next time, you'll think twice before interfering with my plans." Ah, there it was, the real reason behind her little stunt. A few months ago, I stopped Linda from tearing out the house's beautiful, historic details, the wooden staircase my dad had refinished, the stained glass windows he had restored. She wanted everything modern, sleek, and soulless. She wanted to erase every trace of the home my father had built. "I see," I said. "Well, I hope you got a good price for it." "Don't worry about the price," she snapped. "Just make sure you're out by next Friday. The new owners are eager to start renovations." I could almost picture her smirking, thinking she had finally won. If only she knew. "Thanks for letting me know," I said before hanging up. A smile tugged at my lips. Linda had always underestimated me, just like she had underestimated my dad's foresight. She thought she knew everything, but she had no idea what was coming. I picked up my phone again and called Mr. Lewis. "Mia," he answered warmly, "I was expecting your call." "She did it," I said. "She actually tried to sell the house." "Did she now?" he said, amused. "Well, this should be interesting. Want me to handle it?" "Yes, please, and make sure the buyers understand what's going on. I don't want them caught in Linda's mess." After I hung up, I walked through the house, my house, running my hand along the walls my dad had painted, the doors he had repaired, the window seats where we used to sit and read together. Every part of this home held memories of him. Linda had married my dad 5 years ago when I was 23. At first, she acted like the perfect stepmother, sweet, kind, pretending to care, but after the wedding, her true nature showed. She tried to come between me and my dad, made rude comments about how close we were, and kept pushing for changes to the house. Dad saw through her eventually, but by then, his health was failing. One evening, when she was out at one of her spa appointments, Dad called me into his study. "Mia," he said, his voice weak but serious, "I need you to trust me. Things aren't what they seem with Linda, and I've made arrangements. When the time comes, go see Daniel Lewis, he'll explain everything." I had so many questions, but Dad had been too tired to answer. 2 weeks later, he was gone. Linda wasted no time taking over. She packed up Dad's belongings, redecorated the house without asking me, and acted like she owned everything. But soon, she was about to learn the truth. And I couldn't wait to see her face when she did. What Linda didn't know was that my dad had seen this coming. When I met with Mr. Lewis after Dad passed, he explained how carefully everything had been planned. The house had never been in Dad's name alone. Through a series of legal steps I didn't fully understand, he had protected both the house and me from exactly this kind of situation. My phone buzzed with a text from Linda. "I expect the keys on my desk by Thursday. Don't make this difficult, Mia." I smiled as I typed back. "Don't worry, Linda, everything will work out exactly as it should." She didn't reply. She probably thought she had won. But the real fun was just about to start, and I had the best seat in the house to watch her plans fall apart. Dad always told me that patience was a virtue. Sometimes, he'd say, the best thing to do is wait and let people show their true colors. Well, Linda had certainly shown hers. Now, it was time for her to see mine. I spent the rest of the morning looking through some old photos in Dad's study. There was one of us painting the house together, both of us covered in streaks of color and sawdust, laughing. Another showed us in the backyard he had carefully landscaped, surrounded by the rose bushes he had planted by hand. Linda had wanted to rip those roses out last spring, saying they were too old-fashioned. I had stopped her then, just like I was about to stop her now. My phone rang. Mr. Lewis. The wheels are in motion, he said. The buyer's lawyer has been informed. They're pretty upset with Linda, but relieved they found out before making any payments. How long until she finds out? I asked. I'd say by this afternoon. Their lawyer is drafting a very strongly worded letter as we speak. Would you like me there when she receives it? I thought for a second before shaking my head. No, I said. Let her handle it alone. She needs to understand exactly what she's done. As you wish, he said, but Mia, be ready for the fallout. People like Linda don't handle humiliation well. He was right. Linda always had to be in control. Finding out she had tried to sell a house she had no right to, that she had embarrassed herself in front of serious buyers, was going to crush her. But that was the point. The fallout came faster than expected. At exactly 3 p.m., my phone blew up with missed calls and furious texts from Linda. What have you done? The last message was in all caps, her anger practically seeping through the screen. I was sitting in the backyard among Dad's roses when her Mercedes screeched into the driveway. She threw the car door open and stormed toward me, gripping what I assumed was the lawyer's letter in her shaking hands. You sneaky little brat, she shrieked, completely losing her usual fake politeness. You knew about this all along. I stayed seated, calm. Knew about what, Linda? Don't play dumb. She shoved the letter in my face. The trust, the property transfer, all of it. You and that lawyer planned this behind my back. No, I corrected her. Dad and Mr. Lewis planned it. I just followed his instructions. Her face twisted in disbelief. Your father would never do this to me. This has to be a mistake. Actually, I said, standing up and dusting off my jeans, Dad did exactly this, to protect me and the house. He saw right through you, Linda. He knew exactly what you'd try to do once he was gone. She took a shaky step back, her designer heels sinking slightly into the soft grass. That's not possible. He trusted me. He loved me. I tilted my head. Did he? I asked softly. Or did he just let you think he did? I watched as the truth settled in, piece by piece. The man she thought she had completely fooled had actually outsmarted her the whole time. The house was never really his, I continued. He moved it into a trust years before he even met you. I'm the only beneficiary. You had no right to try to sell it. You're lying, she whispered, but I could see the doubt in her eyes. Check the property records, I said with a shrug. They're public. Dad made sure of that, too. Her hand shook as she crushed the letter in her fist. And for the first time since she had barged into my life, the confrontation, the buyers are threatening legal action. Do you have any idea how humiliating this is? Linda spat, her voice trembling with anger. Almost as humiliating as trying to throw your stepdaughter out of her own house, I shot back. Or maybe as humiliating as pretending to care about someone just to get their money. Her face went pale, like I'd slapped her. You don't understand anything about my relationship with your father, she said, her voice shaky. I understand more than you think, I replied. Dad told me everything before he passed, about the prenup you refused to sign, the mysterious withdrawals from his accounts, the meetings you had with other men while he was in the hospital. Her eyes went wide. He knew? She whispered. He knew everything, Linda. He just waited, watched, and planned, like father, like daughter, I guess. She took a step back, her expensive suit now covered in dirt from the garden. This isn't over, she threatened, but I could tell her voice lacked confidence. Actually, it is, I said, pulling out my phone. I've been recording this entire conversation. Would you like me to add it to the file, Mr. Lewis is building about your attempt to illegally sell a property that doesn't belong to you? For the first time ever, Linda was speechless. She just stood there, surrounded by my father's roses, looking completely lost. I'll make it simple, I continued. Leave the house, leave me alone, and most importantly, leave my father's memory alone. If you try anything else, any more schemes, any more attempts to take what isn't yours, everything will come out. The affairs, the money, all of it. You wouldn't dare, she hissed. It would destroy your precious father's reputation. I smiled. channeling the quiet strength I'd always admired in him. Dad's reputation can handle the truth. Linda, can yours? She stared at me for a long moment, calculation running through her eyes. Finally, her shoulders slumped, and she muttered, "Fine, keep the house, keep your little victory, but don't think this means you've won." "I already have," I replied. "I won the moment Dad saw you for who you really are." She turned and stormed back to her car, her heels sinking into the grass with every angry step. As she drove away, I noticed she had dropped the lawyer's letter in the garden. I picked it up and smoothed out the crumpled paper. The legal jargon was complicated, but the message was clear. Linda had no claim to the house. She never had. Her attempt to sell it had been an act of fraud. My phone buzzed, another text from Mr. Lewis. "How did she take it?" "About as well as we expected," I replied, "but I think she's done." "Your father would be proud," he wrote back. "He always said you were stronger than anyone knew." I looked around the garden, at the roses Dad had planted and tended so carefully, at the house he had protected with everything he had. He had known this day would come. He prepared for it in ways I was just beginning to understand. Linda had thought she was teaching me a lesson about respect. Instead, she had learned one about underestimating people, both the living and the dead. The letter. The weeks after Linda's departure were filled with unexpected changes. The house felt different, lighter, as if a weight had been lifted. I spent my evenings restoring rooms to their original charm, undoing all the damage Linda had tried to make with her modernizing plans. One evening, while going through boxes in Dad's study, I found a letter addressed to me, written in his familiar handwriting. The envelope was dated just days before he passed. My hand shook as I opened it. "My dearest Livy. If you're reading this, then everything has played out just as I expected. Linda has probably tried to take the house by now, and you've learned about the trust one set up with James. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you everything while I was alive. Linda was watching too closely, and I needed her to think she had won. You see, I realized what she was really like about a year into our marriage, but by then, it was too late. The mysterious illness that landed me in the hospital? It wasn't a mystery at all. I had James investigate the dizziness, the confusion, the gradual weakness. Linda had been adding something to my tea every evening, not enough to kill me right away, but enough to make it look like a natural decline. I played along, let her think she was winning. In the meantime, I made sure to protect you, Livy. I wanted to protect everything we built together. This house isn't just bricks and wood, it's our legacy. Every repair, every restoration, every piece of it is a part of us. I know it must have been painful for you to see me seem to choose her over you in my last months. Please forgive me. I needed her to believe she had control so she wouldn't suspect what was coming. There's something else you need to know. Check behind the loose brick in the study fireplace. I left something there for you. Remember, strength isn't always about confrontation. Sometimes it's about waiting for the right moment to act. I love you, my darling girl. Dad. I sat there for a long time, tears falling onto the letter. Everything made sense now, the coldness in his last months, the secretive conversations, the nightly tea sessions with Linda. I moved to the fireplace and easily found the loose brick. Behind it was a small USB drive and another note. Show this to the police when you're ready. The drive contained videos from hidden cameras Dad had set up, footage of Linda adding things to his tea, her secret meetings with other men, phone calls where she discussed her plans for after his death. He had documented everything. Shaking, I called Mr. Lewis. "James," I said when he answered, "I found Dad's letter, and the drive." He was quiet for a moment. "Are you ready to take the next step?" I thought about it. The evidence on the drive was damning: attempted murder, fraud, conspiracy. Linda would face serious charges. "Not yet," I said. "Let's keep it as insurance for now. Just knowing it's there is enough." "Your father said you'd say that," he replied, and I could hear the smile in his voice. "He always said you had his sense of strategy." The next morning, a large envelope arrived from Linda's lawyer. Inside was a formal document relinquishing any claim to the house and my father's estate, along with a short note. "You win, Olivia. I'm leaving the state. Don't worry about hearing from me again. Just keep what you know to yourself." She'd found the cameras. Of course, she had. After our confrontation, she would have searched the house for anything incriminating. The evidence on the drive was just a backup. The threat of it was enough. I stood in Dad's study, surrounded by the life we'd built together, and felt a deep sense of peace. He had protected me one last time, teaching me a final lesson about patience and strategy. The house remained as he had wanted it, preserved, cherished, a testament to our bond. Linda's attempt to take it had failed, just like her attempts to come between us had ultimately failed. In the garden, Dad's roses bloomed more beautifully than ever. I tended to them carefully, honoring his memory with every flower that opened. Sometimes, while working among them, I could almost hear his voice. Remember, Livy, the strongest roots grow in silence, hidden from view, until the right moment to bloom. He had been right, of course. Strength wasn't always about confrontation. Sometimes, it was about waiting.